Hello everybody, and welcome to this week's episode of Midgard Musings. My name is Jesse, and I'm the host here on this channel. I upload weekly videos wherein I discuss various Norse heathen-related topics, some things that may be on my mind at the time, some things may be sort of like in a series sort of format. But today, as you can see, we will be discussing Valhalla. We're going to be talking a bit about the things that we do know, historical or things that we find in the sagas, some of the poems, some of the Eddas, just some basic stuff. And I'm going to be talking a bit about my own insight on it. So before we actually get started, thank you for tuning in and watching. If you haven't already become a subscriber, the subscribe button is right down here, depending on which browser you're using, and if you're on a phone or not, it's somewhere right down there. It's a red button. If you click on it, become a subscriber. Once you do that, click the little bell notification to the right, so that way you're notified every time I upload a video. While you're also in the process of doing all that, I'm going to put a card up here in the corner of the video, an annotated card for you to follow the giveaway link. I'm running a giveaway for reaching 500 subscribers last month, and we're running that giveaway until the end of September. We will be announcing the winner of that giveaway on October 1st. And if you're wondering what exactly we're going to be doing, what the giveaway prize is, I told you that I was going to be doing a wood burning with a sort of a seagull or a Vegvisir or Aegishjalmur or something like that. And I chose to do an Aegishjalmur. And so here is the burning. I'm going to show the guys on YouTube first, down here for Facebook land. And you'll notice there's a missing something in the middle. I didn't quite follow all the way through to the middle. There's a reason for that. And then on the reverse side, we have the Midgard Musings bind rune right there. So the reason why the center is kind of empty or hollow is due to the fact that the winner of this wood burning gets to choose which rune gets burned into the middle of this Aegishjalmur. Alright guys, so follow the link up in that annotated card. It's also going to be linked down in the description of the video on how to enter the giveaway. It's really simple. All you have to do is like the Facebook page, subscribe to the channel, and have bell notification enabled. I go into that all down there in detail. So click on that link to get more details. But today, we're going to be talking about Valhalla. So before we do that, let's get our candle lit and our incense going, and we'll get right into this discussion. Alright, I got the incense kind of off camera a little bit because it always tends to burn up a little bit with, its smokiness. So I want to keep that out of the view of everybody as much as possible and get a nice little thing going. There we go. Alright guys, so Valhalla, right? We've all heard of it. If you're watching this channel, you may be a Norse heathen yourself, or at least am familiar with what Valhalla is. But for those that maybe don't know, or maybe have a different idea of what it is, we're going to go into that right now. Alright, so I've got some notes that I'm going to be reading off of just because I'm terrible at retaining things in my mind, especially for topics like this. So I've got some notes that I'm going to be referring to. These are some of the things of what we know, and I'm going to be referring to Dr. Jackson Crawford's Poetic Edda, or translation of the Poetic Edda, for some information that we have written in some of the poems contained in the Poetic Edda. So, obviously, one of the things that we want, let's focus on one thing, what we know about what Valhalla is, and what Valhalla means. Okay, so Valhalla, called Valhall in Old Norse, is the hall of the slain warriors. This is presided over by Odin, and it's a place where the fallen, slain warriors go after they die to sort of prepare for Ragnarok, okay, the final battle or the doom of the gods. We can maybe talk about that in another video as far as the meaning of Ragnarok and all that fun stuff. But this is a place that is set aside for half of those who are slain or who die honorably in battle. The meaning of Valhalla, it's a compound word. Okay, so you have the first part, Val, which we'll see in another word later on that we'll be talking about in this video. But that word Val can be translated from Old Norse to mean the slain. And then you have the second word Hol, or Halla, Valhalla, as we say it in English, but Valhall in Old Norse. That second word Hol is the same as our English word hall. So it is quite literally Hall of the Slain. The half that what we spoke about earlier, as far as half of the dead or half of the slain go to Odin's Hall. The first pick of the litter, if you will, or the first pick of the fallen slain in battle go to Freya's Hall, Folkvogner, which we'll talk about again in another video. I'm not going to really go into that too much. But then Odin gets sort of the second leftovers, if you will. Now, some people may, not necessarily confused, but some people will think about Valhalla, as being sort of the Norse heaven or Viking heaven, thinking of it as the place where the dead go when they die, and it's this great, wonderful place to be. That's not the case, and we're going to go into some reasons why that is. There's also some evidence in early skaldic poetry, and I'm not sure where these particular poems are found, but if there's anybody out here that can kind of steer me in the direction or knows which poems I'm talking about, definitely feel free to comment down below. Some early skaldic poems, or a specific poem wherein a king who devoted his life to Odin, and who was pretty much, that was who he was devoted to, dies in battle, but it says in that poem that he was, quote, taken by hell. Okay, hell, spelled H-E-L, not to be confused with the Christian place of torment with two L's, but hell being just the realm ruled over by the goddess Hel, Helheim. The name of her realm is Helheim. Basically a place of just rest for those who just died of old age or sickness, those who didn't die in battle, things like that. There's strong evidence that suggests that the place Valhalla, whatever you want to call it, we'll just keep calling it Valhalla for the rest of the video's sake, that it's possible that Valhalla came along later on in Scandinavian beliefs or in the Norse belief system as a place to go, as far as where to go in the afterlife, and that hell is the earliest known place for the dead to go. Just a place of rest, just a place of, comfort where your ancestors are, and where, quite truly, I believe, where most of us nowadays will go in terms of our belief system, right? So it's very possible that the whole idea of Valhalla didn't come around until closer to the Christianization of Scandinavia, and maybe even after that. So keep that in mind. Again, Valhalla is the Hall of the Slain. It is only a place set aside for those who have died victoriously in battle. And we said earlier, Odin gets kind of the second half of those that are chosen, and the way that the dead are chosen, or the way that the dead are selected, are by the Valkyries, or Valkyria in Old Norse. Now there we see again, and in this compound word, the first word part being Val, which is of the slain. It can be very strongly translated to meaning slain, and then the Norse word Kyria, which can be translated as chooser. So Valkyrie or Valkyria is choosers of the slain, right? So the Valkyrie are they end up on the field of battle where the slain are. They choose the ones to go to Freya's Hall, and then the others go to Odin's Hall. Now there's also some evidence in some of the lore, some of the sagas, wherein we see that some who died in battle, like the skaldic poem I mentioned earlier, did not go to Valhalla, but that some did. Some that necessarily didn't die in battle, and again, there's some very unsure references to that. So there's going to be some. Don't quote me on this. Don't hold me to this. But there is some back and forth between where the dead end up or how you get into Valhalla. But it is pretty, strongly believed and understood from what we have as far as written text, that it is dedicated entirely for the victorious dead. We're going to refer now to two poems in the Poetic Edda. The first one being Grimnismal. This is a poem wherein Odin is in disguise and he's talking to this giant, I believe it is. Let me just pull it up here. And like I said, this is Dr. Jackson Crawford's translation of Poetic Edda. Actually, no, Vafthrû the Small is the riddle weaver. This other person that Odin's talking to. But Grimnismal, he's in disguise and under the name of Grimir, right? And we're referring to a few stanzas in this poem. Okay, we're referring to stanzas 8 through 10, stanza 19, and stanza 24 through 26. So stanza 8 through 10, Odin's talking about the various halls that are known, that the various gods may be presiding over. So stanza 8 through 10 in Grimnismal, a fifth land is Gladsheim, where gold, bright, wide Valhalla stands. That is where Odin chooses from the men killed by weapons every day. Valhalla is easily recognized if one comes to see it. The hall is held up by spear shafts, it is roofed by shields, chainmail is on the benches. Valhalla is easily recognized if one comes to see it. A wolf hangs above the door, and an eagle above him. All right, that stanzas 8 through 10. It's giving us a bit of a visual of what this hall looks like. Stanza 19 goes on to talk a bit more about it and says, battle-witting Odin feeds his tamed wolves, Geri and Freki, but for his part, weapon-loving Odin lives on wine alone. Stanza 24 through 26, I think Valhalla has 640 doors if all are counted. 800 Einherjar will walk through each when the day comes to fight Fenrir. There is a goat named Heidrun who stands on Odin's hall and gnaws the limbs of the tree Laroth. That goat fills Valhalla's cups with bright mead from her udders, and that drink will never diminish. There is a stag named Eikthirnir who stands on Odin's hall and gnaws the limbs of the tree Laroth. Drops fall from his horns into the well Hreglimir, that is the origin of all the rivers. So, so back up to stanza 24, where we're talking about the 800 Einherjar, right? Einherjar are the dead who have fallen and are now the chosen warriors for Odin's battle against Fenrir at Ragnarok. So we're getting a description of a place of pretty large proportions. 800 men, shoulder to shoulder, can stand widthways and walk through one of its 640 gates. Now, some of the translations of the Poetic Edda and Grimnismal may not necessarily meet up with that number. I think it's because of the fact that the Norse is off of a base 12 system of counting. So again, your translation, if you're reading a different version, may say something slightly different. All right, now the other source that we're looking at is another poem this is the Harbudsdioth, the taunting of Thor by Odin, wherein they kind of are exchanging insults with one another. And this is going to be stanza 24 in, stanza 24 in Harbudsdioth. Let me get to it here real quick so that I don't... Okay. So stanza 24 says, this is Odin speaking to Thor. Let's see. Yeah, here he goes. I was in the south making battles. I turned princes against one another. I never made peace. Odin receives the powerful men who fall in battle, and Thor receives their servants. All right, so let's back up a little bit to what exactly I feel this translates to. Again, the Hall of the Slain. This is not somewhere that I feel is going to be too terribly enjoyable or relaxing, or just a place to sort of enjoy the deeds of your past life. This is a place of violence, and this is a place of death even, because what happens in Valhalla is the Einherjar fight every day. They kill one another. Odin resurrects them at the end of the day. They feast and drink, and then the next day it happens again. So this is all over again. It's a cyclic thing. So, you know, you're seeing a pattern of battling one another, fighting one another, training. You know, to me, Valhalla is kind of like a boot camp place, if you will. This is a place where Odin feels that these men were victorious in life. They were victorious in battle. They were fearless. They were brave. They were strong. They gave everything they had in battle, in physical, actual warfare battle, and that now they are to be used to hone their skills and to train and to battle one another to get better for the final battle in Ragnarok. So we see sometimes in some circles, in some platforms, on especially social media, we see Valhalla, like I said earlier in the video, we see Valhalla sort of put out into this sort of, you know, Viking heaven, if you will, where people come and it's just that it's party all the time and it's a great time and you're hanging out with the gods and Odin's there and you're drinking mead and you're eating the, you know, pork and you're just, you know, revelry and reckless abandon and stuff. I personally, okay, when all is said and done, I just want to chill for eternity. I just want to lay back. I want to enjoy my relaxation, my time with my ancestors in hell. All right. To me, Valhalla is not a place for anyone who's lost a metaphorical battle. All right. And this may hit some people in a way, but again, this is my insight. This is my belief. Doesn't necessarily reflect the belief pattern of the entire heathen community or anything like that. This is just my personal take on it. Okay, Valhalla is not a place for children. Okay, it's not a place for people who've lost a battle against cancer or people who have lost a battle against depression and have committed suicide. It's not a place for those who have lost any sort of psychological battle or battles against a disease wherein, hey, you are fighting for your life. You are fighting for your life when it comes to any sort of disease, whether it's a physical disease against your body, whether it's a mental disease against your, you know, your mental capacities or things of that nature. Trust me, I'm not taking away from anybody who's actually fighting those things and that they are not therefore worthy of a, you know, of a well placed afterlife, you know, of such. But to me, those people who have fought those battles, they're not physical warfare. It's not you're actually going out there and meeting an enemy on the battlefield, fighting valiantly, giving it everything you got, and you're slain. It's simply not. It's not how I think the arch-heathens viewed Valhalla or anyone from, you know, that time period when Valhalla was, you know, becoming part of it, the religious aspects of the Scandinavian people or the Germanic people at the time. They, to me, I believe, viewed battle and viewed warfare as literal, physical warfare. Okay? And again, it doesn't take away from anyone who is battling things. Because again, we've seen something, I don't know, I've seen some, you know, these things where they say, you know, a child walks into Valhalla. I'm sorry, but Odin, as like he says in, as he says in, Harbertsblod, sorry, my pronunciation's kind of getting butchered right now, but as he says in that poem, you know, he incites war. He does not make peace. He wants men to die in battle so that he has an army to fight against the forces that will be opposing the gods in Ragnarok, you know? So I don't think a child would meet the standards for Odin's army, or anyone who died from an illness that eats away at your body or that eats away at your mind. Because again, the warrior at the time, the warrior on the battlefield, is not just physically fit, they are mentally strong, there is tenacity, there is all these things that, you know, Odin is attracted to. So, again, my own thoughts, none of those types of people, you know, children, suicide victims of any other mental illness, cancer, you know, sicknesses and illness, these are places that I feel are simply where you will end up in hell. Okay, this is a place of rest. And again, it's going to be a totally different video that will talk about the afterlife in Norse you know, in this path or in this heathen path, and in some of the different various halls that we hear about in some of the poems and things like that. But again, that is my take on Valhalla. I'm definitely anxious and interested to hear what everybody else's opinion is. So down in the comments section below, let me know what you think about this video, first of all, and what your take on Valhalla is. All right? Everybody that's down here watching live on Facebook, don't go anywhere, because I do see a bunch of comments and I want to definitely read through them and answer some questions or have some discussion further along with you. But you guys up here watching on the YouTube channel, if you want to become a part of these live discussions every Sunday night, follow the link in the description of this video, click on the Facebook page, like the page, make sure your notifications are enabled. But every Sunday night at 7 o'clock Central Standard Time, I go live on the Facebook page. So if you want to become a part of the live discussion, you certainly can, and we welcome you to do so. Right up here, you're going to see that floating Midgard Musings logo. Click on it. Become a subscriber. And when you do, turn the bell notifications on, and you'll be notified every time I upload a new video. If you want to join in on the giveaway, follow the description below for that video. Thank you so much for watching, everybody, and I will see all of you in the next video. Hail.